I've worked night shifts as a nurse for almost 7 years now, and I've seen my share of strange things. But this is something that still keeps me up some nights. I was working at a small-town hospital in Ohio. It wasn't a big place, only about 30 patients on the floor I covered. The night shift was usually quiet. We do rounds, check vitals, fill charts, grab coffee, and try not to fall asleep before 6 a.m. It was a Wednesday, middle of winter. Snow was coming down hard, the kind that muffles everything outside. Around 2:30 a.m., most of the patients were asleep, and the halls were dimly lit, the kind of lighting that makes every shadow look alive. That night, something felt off. I couldn't explain it. Usually the building hums with machines, vents, and distant beeping, but it was dead silent. I was walking past room 214 when I heard the faintest whisper, like someone saying my name. "Olivia?" I froze. It sounded like it came from down the hall, near the old wing that was no longer in use. That area had been closed for years after the hospital downsized. We kept the doors locked. At first, I thought maybe one of the night cleaners left a door open or someone was playing a prank. So I grabbed my flashlight and started walking toward the sound. The closer I got, the colder the air felt. The doors to the old wing were shut, but the tiny window in the metal frame showed complete darkness inside. I swear I saw movement in there, like someone walking slowly across the hall. I radioed Mark, the security guy, but he didn't answer. That was strange. He always responded right away. I pushed the door handle, expecting it to be locked. It wasn't. The hallway inside smelled like dust and chemicals. I shined my light down the corridor, and the beam landed on a wheelchair sitting in the middle of the floor. Just sitting there, facing the wrong way. I took one cautious step forward, then another. My shoes echoed. Somewhere deeper down, I heard the sound of a foot dragging, a slow scraping sound. I called out, "Hello? Is someone back here?" Nothing. Then I heard it again. "Olivia," only this time it came from right behind me. I spun around so fast the flashlight slipped out of my hand. The beam rolled across the floor, catching a glimpse of someone standing just behind the doorway. They were pale, dressed in an old hospital gown, their head tilted slightly, like they were studying me. I blinked, and they were gone. I ran. I didn't even think. I sprinted back down the hall, slammed the door shut, and practically fell against it, trying to catch my breath. When I went to the security office to check the cameras, Mark was sitting there. He said he hadn't left the office the whole night. We rewound the footage. There was no one in that hallway but me. The next morning, maintenance checked the old wing. The lock was broken from the inside. A few weeks later, I transferred floors. I still work nights, but I never walk alone anymore. And every now and then, when the hospital gets quiet around 3 a.m., I swear I still hear someone whisper my name. I used to work nights at a gas station off I-70, just outside of Indianapolis. It was one of those small 24-hour places with one cashier, one security camera, and no backup for miles. The pay wasn't great, but the peace and quiet were. Most nights I'd just sip my coffee, restock shelves, and listen to the hum of the cooler. This happened about 3 years ago. It was late January, cold enough that the windows were fogged up from the inside. Around 2:15 a.m., a white pickup truck pulled into the lot. The driver didn't get out right away, just sat there with the engine running. The headlights stayed on, flooding the front of the store. I remember thinking maybe he was just warming up or making a call. After about 5 minutes, he finally stepped out. He was tall, wearing a brown jacket and a baseball cap pulled low. He walked inside slowly, didn't make eye contact, just went straight to the back of the store near the bathrooms. No hello, no glance my way. That wasn't too weird. It's late, people get tired. But something about the way he moved made my stomach tighten. I heard the bathroom door creak open, then close. After about 10 minutes, I realized he hadn't come out yet. I thought maybe he was sick or passed out. I knocked lightly. No answer. When I tried the handle, it was locked. I radioed my boss, but he didn't pick up. So I waited. Another 5 minutes passed. Then I heard it, knocking. From the inside, 3 slow knocks. Then silence. "Sir, you okay in there?" I asked. No reply. I took a few steps back toward the counter. I was about to call the cops when the bathroom door creaked open on its own. No one came out. I hesitated, walked toward it, and gently pushed it open. The bathroom was empty, lights flickering, sink dripping. But the mirror had something smeared on it. It looked like a handprint. Just one, but it was huge. I looked outside. The white truck was gone. The weirdest part? I checked the security footage later that morning. The pickup truck never appeared on camera, no record of it arriving or leaving. But you can clearly see me talking to someone at the counter, someone tall, wearing a brown jacket. Then, just as he walks toward the bathroom, the feed cuts to static. When it comes back, I'm standing there alone. I quit that job a few months later. Every time I drive past that exit, I still look for that white truck. I haven't seen it since, but sometimes, when I stop for gas late at night, I swear I feel someone watching from the pump across from me. Back in 2019, I worked night shifts as a front desk clerk at a small family-owned motel just outside of Flagstaff, Arizona. We had maybe 20 rooms, mostly truckers and travelers. Quiet most nights, except weekends when it filled up. This happened in late summer. The desert nights were warm, the air smelled like rain and dust. Around midnight, we only had one guest left to check in, a man named Charles W., according to the reservation. He never showed. Around 1:30 a.m., the phone at the front desk rang. I picked up, expecting maybe him or a guest complaining about the AC, but the line was dead. I hung up, and it rang again immediately. "Front desk, this is Emma." A man's voice said, "Room 7. I checked the log. Room 7 was empty, had been all week. I said, "Sir, I think you've got the wrong room number." But the line cut out. I hung up and checked the security screen. Room 7's porch light was flickering. I could have sworn I saw a shadow move across the window. I told myself maybe a light sensor was glitching, so I grabbed the spare key and went to check it out. The gravel crunched under my shoes as I walked. The whole row of rooms was silent except for that one buzzing light. When I unlocked the door and stepped inside, the room was cold, too cold. The air smelled stale, like old cigarette smoke. I checked the bathroom, empty. Closet, empty. Then I noticed the phone on the nightstand. It was off the hook. I hung it up, locked the door, and went back to the lobby. About 20 minutes later, the phone rang again. This time, the caller ID said, "Room 7. I didn't answer. I just stared at it ringing. After a few minutes, it stopped. The next morning, the cleaning staff came in. One of them, Rosa, called me over while she was cleaning room 7. She found an old guest log under the bed, dated 1998. The last entry? Charles W. checked in. I quit that week. S. Sometimes I still dream about that phone ringing. Always the same voice, always saying the same thing. Room 7.